Welcome to the Commercial Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us to lead, learn, and laugh. I'm Michael Bull, your host to the world of commercial real estate. Well, today we're going to share best practices to sell your professional services. You know, whatever type of services you provide, the better you're able to promote your services, the better your bottom line, right? Well, please welcome my guest for the show today, Rod Santomassimo, founder and president of the Massimo Group, North America's leading coaching and consulting organization focused on commercial real estate and related services. Rod, thanks for joining us again on the show.
Oh, Michael, thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, we like having you here in Atlanta at Studio One, so thanks for joining us. And you know, we've enjoyed your coaching for many years. You know, you're one of the trainers that trains like I do. As I've told you before, I really like how you help sales professionals and business development people get out there and really do the right things to produce more business. And while we're talking about that, let's start there. I mean, you have trainers, you have coaches. What's the difference between training and coaching?
Yeah, great question. We really don't train. Training is a great start. It's a delivery of ideas, and then we hope that's implemented. What we do is coach. We provide methodologies and processes, and from there, we make sure that our clients are held accountable, and therefore the ideas are implemented and the results are then achieved.
Yeah, that's great. Well, just as a broad question, how can listeners better sell their services?
Well, that's a great word, sell. And I was always told, Michael, don't tell, but sell. That was so important when we try to articulate what we do for our clients and our prospects. But for the audience, for everyone, I'll say you have to have a little tell in your sell. You do. Because if you can articulate what's going on in your market or what's going on from a service side or how it benefits the prospect, there's more likelihood they're going to see you as an expert. So number one, as I say, practice that tell a little bit. You have a little tell in your sell. You do. But let's say you're a market expert, no matter what your service might be.
I'll say I am then.
Okay,
like
you
that.
are a market expert. Okay, and you are.
Yeah.
But how do we know you're a market expert, Michael? How do we know you are? This is one way, right? We absolutely know. You articulate it. There's a presence around you. Mm-hmm. You make sure the word is out that Michael Bull is an expert in commercial real estate, in this case, brokerage and consulting. It may be legal, it may be mortgage, it may be whatever, but that's what we know. So not only are you telling, but you're sharing. So you got to share that. People know what you're doing. And last but not least, you asked me to be on the show. You asked me to be on the show. So you have to ask your prospects for business. It's amazing to me how people create this presence in their environment, yet they don't ask for the business. So tell a little more, still sell, but create that presence. And yeah, you have to ask for the business.
You have to ask for the order, right?
You have to ask for the order.
I have seen some great presentations, people with great presence that didn't ask for the order. And so people just walk away. It's like,
just walk away.
You got to get the signature. Well, how do you know what to focus on with the clients? Do you need to ask certain questions? What do you focus on there?
Well, the number one thing is we have to clearly understand the client's objectives with the relationship. We do. And how we do that is twofold. Yes, there's an interview process of really what are you hoping to achieve? And that's sometimes a reality check. When a client might say, well, I want to make $1 million this year. What did you make last year? $100,000. Well, we have a little disconnect right there, okay? So there's one, the client's objectives. But also, most coaching processes, ours particularly, has a specific diagnostic way to understand specifically what's going to take to move that client's business forward.
And that's the same way when they're going out and reaching their clients, right? When they're trying to tack services to their company. When they're talking to the client, they've got to ask the question, see what's important to the client. Really, what are their motives, right?
Absolutely. I've been through. You've been through. You sat with your insurance agent and your financial advisor and your accountant. I'm sure you have, and particularly I have as well this time of year where we're really focusing on what's going on. And they ask those questions, you're like, really, do you need to know all this? Well, of course they do. To really achieve my goals, I have to understand where I'm coming from and what my objectives are in the short term and the long term.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think some people try to sell something to someone before they really know what they need. And let's talk about some examples. So let's say that you have a law firm. You're listening, you have a law firm. How can attorneys use these principles?
Well, first of all, back when I was younger, I always thought attorneys couldn't advertise. They couldn't market. And those times have changed a little bit. They certainly have. And now with social media, they absolutely have. Go back to the first question. How can I share with my audience, my prospects, my expertise? And social media is a fantastic way to do it. With some of our legal attorney clients, we're really leveraging their expertise, putting it out in blog formats and other formats and getting the word out. That's number one. We also found attorneys and others, I'll ask you, Michael. Michael, do you have any past clients?
Yes.
No, Michael, you don't.
No.
You don't have any past clients. You're a past client is someone else's prospect. We purge that word at the Massimo Group.
Okay.
No such thing. We all have inactive clients.
Okay.
So you sold a multi-million-dollar asset for one of your clients last year. They're still your client. They're just not currently active. And one thing we found with attorneys, they really didn't look at it that way. They said, we're billing them, we're fine. Let's really focus on going after inactive client business and expanding those relationships. We found that to be a great source of revenue for those clients as well.
I think that's fantastic, and I've had some attorneys that I've talked to because they see that we're pretty good at selling and promoting our clients' services and opportunities, and I tell them the same thing. I say, look, get out there and blog and tweet, and sometimes it seems like attorneys in particular are a little afraid about tweeting and things because they're afraid they could be held liable.
Absolutely. You have to be considerate of what you're putting out there. With our clients specifically, we really focus on a success story or a specific client engagement where they get the sign off from that client. Yeah, go ahead and share the information. You did a great job for me. Let everyone know. And that's something I think back to, you got to share your success.
Okay. And what about somebody that's in the mortgage business?
Same theory applies, believe it or not. Same theory applies. Most of our clients right now, though we're just about to secure another contract with a larger lender, have been on the mortgage brokerage side of the business. And for them, it's all about differentiating themselves from the larger mortgage brokerage houses, the banks. It just is. So for them, it's taking that expertise and leveraging the success they had and putting it out in a specific fashion to let the world know, hey, not only do I know what I'm talking about, but I'm really good. And that works. It really works.
Okay, so they can use the same principles of getting their presence out there and using things like social media, right?
Social media, and Michael, we leverage a platform at the Massimo Group called a Presence Pyramid. I know it's corny, but it works. And we have empirical data now to prove it works, and that is there are 3 tiers to presence, one being the physical, right? This is physical. You and I see each other, we'll do a man hug, we'll shake. That's physical. That's great. Great way to create a presence. Then there's the physical, so this is the personal. The physical, you send out pieces to specific people or target audience in the mail, or give them a book or a gift, whatever it might be. And last but not least is the digital, the social media. Believe it or not, you have to do all 3 to truly have a presence. You can't rely on 1 or 2. It doesn't really work. You got to do all 3 at a certain ratio.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. I mean, you can't just sit there on social media all day and expect to have a lot of business from it.
It won't work.
They might know who you are, but you've definitely not asked for the
You're not asking for the business, not at all.
Well, what about commercial brokers? I know a lot of your business is helping commercial agents and brokers and coaching for them. What advice do you have to them to better sell their services?
Brokers, commercial brokers, mortgage brokers, attorneys, whatever it may be, appraisers, they assume too much. They just do. They know what I do. They understand the benefits. They've dealt with people like me before. Basically, your clients don't. Your prospects do not. So first of all, don't assume too much. And if you do something successful, don't assume it won't matter, because it absolutely matters. What we really focused on in the presentation perspective, if you're asking for businesses, it's got to be a conversation. It's never a presentation, always a conversation. And if you go in with that approach and you structure your, for lack of a better term, your pitch in that format, you're going to win a lot more business.
Right, and it's important to know what's important before you go in that pitch, isn't it?
Absolutely. No doubt you're doing your research. We have a little saying, again, we have a lot of sayings, it seems like, in the Massimo Group, but we do have sayings, and that is, you don't wing it to win it, and you can't.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I've had clients, some big clients in major cities, I won't mention them, they've come back and they said, we've lost a significant opportunity. And I said, why is it? How did that happen? How did I not know about this as your coach? Oh, this is an old client. We had it in the bag. It was easy. Well, guess what? They just winged it, and competition comes in every day. I mean, it's a fact of the environment we live in.
Right, and it's important also in that pitch, if you will, to know who's going to be there. Right.
From a prospect side.
Right. If you're pitching a group and there's 4 people there from the company you're pitching, you need to know a little bit about each of those people, right?
Yeah, we do. And as a Massimo Group, everything we do is on branding. It's just seeing Michael here. But the Massimo Group, we have something called the Massimo Matrix. And that matrix lays out 3 specific things. We've learned this process from a very good colleague of mine. I'm sure you know him, Ralph Spencer, and then a gentleman named Mark Faust, who wrote the book Growth or Bust. We took those principles and we create this matrix that outlines shareholders and stakeholders to every decision. Who's going to be in that room? What's their role? And then what are we presenting and what are the impacts of each? Okay,
I want to hear a little bit more about that, and also want to hear some year-end and some planning strategies. So we'll have more for you in just a minute. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by your friends at Bull Realty, France Media, Atlanta Office Liquidators, and Wiseman, Nowak, Curry, and Wilco. For more information about these companies or to access additional show podcasts, videos, or blogs, visit commercialrealestateshow.com.